Ducklings, welcome back everyone, welcome back to the second series of the broadcast. Welcome back to the round 16 of the PiGosaur Cup number 60. Again, a shout out to PiGosaur for sponsoring the event, and a shout out to Pig, for running the event and for organizing the event itself, and shout out to Pig for sponsoring the event as well. So big shout out to Pig, big shout out to PiGosaur as we are jumping into our second series of the broadcast. And this morning in the top left hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the South Korean Terran player, we have the Red Terran, it is Percival. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the Australian Protoss player, we have the Blue Protoss, it is Frustration. The since retired Protoss Australian player, but now he is here. Now he has returned, at least briefly. Again, he did come back to laddering to playing the game once again, just a little bit of a brief stint, playing for fun more than anything. Is he back to actually competing and actually, looking to get into a higher level of play? Not necessarily. For now, I would say just here for fun. Just here for fun, and was able to make it through the first round. But coming into this, it's going to be a mountain to climb. If you're in the chat, predictions are now open. Get your gamba going. Coming into this, Percival is the heavy favorite, even in Frustration's heyday, even in his prime. I would say he would threaten Percival 100%, but Percival, he would still be favored, especially because nowadays Percival, he has been popping off. He's been popping off here in almost every single matchup. Percival has been improving quite heavily, quite quickly over the course of the year. I would say that Percival has probably improved the most in 2025, especially like post-retirement. Remember, Percival, he did retire. He did step away from the game last year. He only came back in November of 2024, and Percival, he has surpassed his previous peaks, is what I will say. Like, even before Percival's retirement, he was more of a mid-tier, I say mid-tier, really, more of a lower tier player amongst the Koreans. I would have said that he was maybe slightly above players like Quanta, players like Homono, players like Genio, for example. Like Percival, he was just above them, of course, but still there was a clear delineation between himself and the other top players over in Korea. Nowadays that line has blurred. Nowadays the line is blurred that much more, and he actually has proven himself, I would say, to be amongst them for sure. So again, it's been really cool to see the rate of improvement for Percival, and oh boy, he is now one that does threaten some of those top players. So last week that he beat Clem, for example. And here we go. For now, Reactor Reaper Hellion. It is going to be a delayed CC, double gas opener, Reactor Reaper Hellion out of Percival, being much more aggressive, much more assertive here, and we'll see what he can get done with his early game aggression. Meanwhile, Frustration going for his own Twilight Council opener. SimCity once again is being set up. He's walling up in his main base, that is true, but we'll see if he can protect his natural. As here comes Percival, he does send it across the map. Looking to send it, baby. There we go, Reaper Hellion does look to dive in. Diving on the Adept, no shield battery, yeah, no shield battery's late, it is delayed, Adept goes down, but alas, does not break through. Tracing that for a Reaper, and Frustration holds. Frustration is able to hold on. He holds the line, but he holds the line. Percival looking for another way in. Going for the sentry, this time the shield battery is done, true. This time it is complete, and Frustration does defend his natural. He holds, he defends. So is looking for another way out. There we go, drops into the main base. Nice pick up here on one of the Stalkers. Gets one. Gets one. He might get a second Stalker here. It looks like he barely will, but it's going to be a one-way trip. Yeah, it's going to be a brutal trade. He does pick up a sentry towards the end. At the same time, was a distraction. Really gets into the mineral line. Going for the workers, 3 probes go down, not bad, getting it to 4 workers towards the end, and this was a bit of a better trade for Percival. I mean, it's hard to say. The medevac has a lot of value, the cyclone as well. The Reaper Hellion doesn't. The Reaper Hellion doesn't scale well into the mid game, so you do want to get rid of that. So thankfully was able to get some economic damage for it, but was it enough? So here comes Frustration, he does break out, his third base getting up and running. Behind this, he went 3-gate blink before the Robo. So no Robo here, still no Robo going to charge as a follow-up. Uplink Stalkers are moving out. Currently no high ground vision. He can look to threaten the natural though, and tank production is delayed. That bunker is exposed. And he's going for it. Yeah, boys are being pulled. Going for the SCVs. The bunker will stand strong. Yeah, the bunker will stand. Does get a couple of worker kills. Nice blink control here by Frustration. Very nice control. Does pull away, but alas, does not have enough. Yeah, and now towards the end was bleeding out some Stalkers. So he gets 3 SCVs, but again, that was for what? That was for 3 Stalkers. Not worth it for Frustration. He moves out to his 9 to kind of drop play, but it's too late. Percival already got out with his Banshees. Yeah, double click Banshee, gets into the main base. 0 detection, there's no Stargate, there's no Robo. Remember, it was a late Robo after the third base, so this may just end the game. 2 Banshees they can one-shot. They can or they will one-shot probes. At the same time, Stalkers they dive in, they do focus on the tank. But this is critical damage. It's critical damage here. As again, there's no way for this to be dealt with. Cloak does run out. That's the one saving grace. The Cloak does run out eventually. But Frustration, he will lose his main army. Plummets in supply. He escapes with 1 Stalker. 1 Stalker gets out. 8 went down. 1 Banshee. That 1 lone Banshee is still alive. Observers on the way. Percival, he may actually have enough to break the third. Unfortunately, again, we just... Nah, he should be fine. Frustration should be able to react. He is out of position, so the third base is exposed. That is true. That's Percival does back in. Pokes in, kites well against the Zealots. Ooh. Let's pull away. Empress where he does pull away. Some nice damage so far, and we'll see if Frustration can kind of stabilize coming into the mid game. Behind this, going for his Bay, going for explosive production. Again, there's still a big window in time before there's any splash damage, and Percival may try to hit that. For now, he's going for his own Ghost Academy. So Academy is on the way. Third base getting saturated. The game is slowing down as we enter the mid game. Okay, slowing things down. Let's go. Plays with the most potential now. I think that's implicating that Percival has, like, he's reached his limits. I think I would disagree with that. I think again, Percival, I would say he's improved the most this year as a player, but from what we can see, from what we can tell, I don't think he's plateaued. Like, I would go that far, that Percival still has potential to continue to improve coming into 2026. It's been a steady growth for him. And again, we'll see what next year looks for him as well, for sure. See how it looks. Frustration looking better than I thought, bleeding so many Stalkers. I mean, Frustration, he has lost map control. Like, because he lost all those Stalkers, Frustration's been stuck at home. He is slowly building up, that is true, but Percival is still in a better position here. I don't think Percival can break Frustration, especially because of the Colossus, which is now revealed. Okay, Colossus is revealed, so Percival has to be careful. But Percival's building on his 4th base. His 4th base is landing. Frustration's his 4th is still on the way. Ideally, the Protoss play wants to be up a base, and that is not the case here. Economically, Percival has the better economy. So better economy, larger army. Percival is still comfortable, but I will say, of course, the frustration, he's holding his own. He's holding his own. We have Shadow Stride on the way. Okay, Shadow Stride is on the way. This is a way to recover. It is going to be a way to recover here. DTs move out. But there's a turret. Yeah, there's a turret in the mineral line. And Percival, he notices. Yeah, he notices there's the EMP, shuts down one DT, gets the other DT as well. Yeah, Shadow Stride a little bit too late to come into play. That was one of the ways for frustration to recover in this game, and he still has potential with that Shadow Stride, with Blink. Still has potential. Once again, just trying to find some damage, going for run-by, going for a counterattack. Our last bunkers are in position. Percival, he's maxed out, and it comes down to the engage. Okay, how many had Templar? 3. So 3 Templar for frustration. Storm is complete, so he's got potential for some juicy connections. He needs those storms to connect. Meanwhile, we have Percival perfecting his army, building up his liberators. Ooh. Racing that longer game. We spoke about this. We have spoken about this in the past, but in the current meta, this is kind of the trajectory of a lot of TvPs: is early game aggression and less all-ins, coming in towards a longer game state, building up into Viking, Ghost, Liberator, which is kind of like the ideal composition. He's not there yet, true, not there yet, but he's getting there. He's almost at the freedom, almost at the libs. Also helps that, of course, Percival, he has been ahead this game, so he's looking quite comfortable with that map control. Had no real concerns. EMP's blowing up. We have a second army here pushing towards the third base. Frustration trying to split off, trying to keep up. Trying to. At the same time, Frustration does go for a Zealot run-by right into the natural. Doesn't get into the mineral line. Oh, it looks like one Colossus went down. He gets one, he gets 2. Yes, that's both Colossus. Percival, he does break through. Stims on forward, takes down the high tempo. Will take a storm to the face. Jesus. Does take it to the face. Zelda cleaned up, and Percival, you just focus on this bush. Once again, another nice EMP. EMPs are landing. Oof. Snipes the Templar. And on the one hand, Frustration technically holds on, but you can see that Percival, his supply here is still very dominant. He's got a massive wave of reinforcements on the way. Remember, Percival, he has had the better economy this entire time. Frustration is trying to warp in, trying to muster up his forces, going to double Colossus production, but needs time. It's time to recover. Yo, the ghost harass, Pappy. Let's go. The cloak ghost. It's crazy. Now we have the freedom, now we have the liberation. That's a lot of freedom, Pat. It's a lot of freedom that gets thrown down. Frustration cannot engage. He's going for it though. Ugh. He is punished. Does get punished. Colossus gets thrown away for free. She wants another. Percival does move in. Oh no! Nice storm. Yes, storm does connect on everything actually. Jesus, the Vikings and the ground army. Okay. Frustration getting the best storm he could have hoped for. And Frustration will hold. Oh, will hold on. They should hold on here. With Zealot reinforcements, Percival does not have enough. At the same time, when he does rally into the third base, cashing more workers, and this still may just be too much. It is. It is too much. GG gets cooled, and Percival will take game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Percival does take a lead in the series and is 1 game away from claiming the series here. Again, frustration, he was able to hold his own for a time and survive, but he never really had any map control. Not after he did take that first big engagement, not after he lost all those stalkers, and not after the DTs as well. So frustration was just stuck at home, and he that allowed Percival to be greedy, get a 4th base, get a 5th base, tech up, and perfect his army. GG. GG, well played. With that, Percival will take a 1-0 lead, and now we're getting ready for game number 2. Getting ready for that second game. Let's go. I'm surprised with the lack of tanks. You typically don't make many tanks in the mid game. I would say that Percival's composition was standard. You typically send a low tank count, you go for a heavy Marine, Marauder, Viking, Ghost, Liberator composition. That's kind of like the standard mid game composition you want. Tanks, they fall off in the mid game. So early on you can build up to like 2, 3, maybe 4 tanks if you go for a big push and big all in early on. But if you can get away with it, you do want to avoid that. Get away with it. But we're just waiting for our second game. Just waiting. Again, tanks, they have their place in the early game of TvP to like be defensive against Blink Stalkers, especially against like 3 and 4 gate Blink. Like tanks, they have their role defensively, and they have their role when it comes to early pushes and all-ins, for sure. They have their role. We are just waiting for our second game? Question mark? What is it? Just waiting for our second game. Do we have any other updates in the bracket so far? We do. It looks like we already have MaxFax. MaxFax is waiting for the winner of the series. Outside of that, looks like we don't really have any other updates though. So yeah, back to back, we are going to be following our players. Regardless of who wins the series, we'll follow them into MaxFax. Following that, we will most likely be following that into the winner of Hero, Perm, and Shameless. There's a lot of Protoss down here. Jesus, a lot of Protoss in this half of the bracket. We'll do our best, Bappy, we'll do our best. Oh, it looks like we have game 2. Game 2 is going to be on White Rabbit. Game 2. Alright, loading in. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of White Rabbits, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran leading the series 1-0. It is Percival. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Australian Protoss player. We have the Blue Protoss. It is a Frustration. And he has marked his return here, at least briefly. Again, from my understanding, he has no real intention to return to full competitive play, but it's really cool to see him in a PiGosaur Cup nonetheless. I'm sure part of it is, you know, now we have a little bit more free time. We're getting into the end of the year, the holidays. Maybe he just has a little bit more free time available. Great to see him competing and get, you know, scratching that itch once again. Now, where is Starduck? True. Gives me back my Starduck. For now, double gas opener here out of Percival. If you remember last game, Percival did go for a Reactor Reaper Hellion into the Cyclone drop follow-up, and he was able to find some damage early on. We'll see what he goes for this time. we go. So far, though, we are just going to be calming down. Frustration, he doesn't really go further into the main base, so for all he knows, it could be a CC further back in the main base, or it could be a factory. He's unaware of the gases yet. But at least Frustration knows there's no proxy. True, I guess. Technically, it could be a second rank out on the map. So incomplete information here by Frustration, but back at home is just setting up. Setting up once again, we've seen this time and time again. SimCity in the main base, making it difficult for Hellions or any kind of dive into the mineral lines. As he is walling up. Walling up his main. As he does forego any kind of Reaper Cliff deterrent. Does forego that. Oh, that is a fast... Hello. So we have a Reaper opener here into Reactor and a Tech Lab into straight add-ons. We have no commitment here into additional Reapers, not this time, so no Hellions either. Really fast Tech Lab here on the factory. Show us what you got. Are we going for the earlier add-on swap? You have my attention. Okay, cycling production has begun. And we're imagining a medevac into early drop play. Okay. So again, this time we're not wasting any time on a Reaper Hellion, on any kind of early game harassment. It's still going to be an early push, but this time with drop play. So early drop is going to be available. Here comes a medevac. Bit of a supply block, a little bit. Does slow Percival down for a couple of seconds here, but he's getting ready for his push. Now this is designed to hunt down, I mean this can hunt down stalkers, can pick off like 1-2 stalkers at a time, and ideally does want to get into the mineral line. Let's go. Let's go. Cyclone does lead the way. Waiting for the tank all in. Okay, so we're going for the all in. So he's waiting for the tank to move out, and this is going to be rallying with the Viking. We speak about this all the time, but in this matchup, Land Viking is a massive DPS increase, especially this early on. Stalkers do struggle against Land Vikings. Here we go. Let's go. They just add a lot of DPS, I should say. So personally, he's just rallying everything. He's just rallying everything. This build has been very popular amongst players like Clem, players like Maru as well. Oh, but he's premature. Yeah, Percival does move in a little bit too soon. Here comes the rest of the army, but he bleeds out so many Marines already. Yeah, medevac does pull away in time. Oh my god, going for the tank. A tank will fall, but we're trading Stalkers. Yeah, down to two Stalkers left, down to 1. Lock-on is not... Oh, lock-on is broken. But alas, I will lose every Stalker. Here comes the Landed Viking. Shield battery has arrived. Medevac is going to go down, and Frustration, I believe he may just barely hold on. It's still very close. Yeah, boys are being pulled. There's 2 Stalkers left. Oh, wow, down to 1. Barely gets a warp in. Frustration surviving back. Whew. Frustration does. Jesus, but these are still some brutal trades. He scans. He wants a Stalker. He will not get it. Waste of a scan. Or was it? I was not. Gets a Stalker. And you can see the Percival's still rallying. He's still rallying. He's still making more Vikings, still making more tanks. He is throwing down some production buildings, so he is looking for a further setup, a further game. But he still wants to end it. Tank volley is going off. Viking lands. There's still a messy defense here from Frustration. Oh, oh. And delicate dance with that Cyclone. Ooh, Cyclone finally falls. And there it is. Frustration does hold on. Does hold. He did trade out a lot of Stalkers here. That's 13 Stalkers going down. Frustration, he does not counterattack yet. There's a tank here waiting to punish. Thankfully, Frustration, he holds back. Does hold back. He got away with his third base. His third base is getting up and running. It's on the way. Oof. Stalkers are punished. Percival still reinforcing. And it's going for a 3-1-1. third TC is on the way. The game will continue from here. So where exactly are we? Coming into this, frustration, third base is late. So late third base out of frustration, delayed third base, late saturation, likewise delayed upgrades as well. Blink is complete. That is true, as we have some landed Viking harass in the main. Let's go. Thankfully, this is a shield battery. The battery helps, but despite that, 3-4 probe kills. Can we get 5? Can we get 6? Oh, good. Yeah, 5-6 probes going down. This is critical damage here, as this is well worth a single Viking. Well worth it. The Viking pops off. Now the ball is in Frustration's court. He's moving out. Who catches who? Oh, he wants those tanks. Charge is done. Yeah, he does want those tanks. First, we have to get the hell out of here. Does pull away. Hot pickup. It does save one of the tanks, just barely. We'll siege up. We'll hold. Whew. First, we does hold on behind this. There's CC not being taken. The landed Viking harass continues. This time only getting one probe. Thankfully. Only one probe kill. Ah no, the sentry. Thank you for the kind words, Rajak in the chat. Thank you, Jack. Thank you for your badass cast, bro. I wish I could afford to sub. It's okay. We appreciate the support. Gracias, baby, gracias. Do appreciate it. Vikings use your pros, Vikings use your drones. Vikings, they do bonus damage. I believe they do bonus damage to shields, if I'm not mistaken. So specifically, Viking harass, land of Viking harass is a little bit different in TvP as opposed to other matchups. Is it versus shields? It was a relatively recent change from like a couple of years ago. Oh, as the drop play doesn't really coincide with another form of harassment, so Percival able to shut down the initial prism, does zone away. Oh, that's it. Sorry, it wasn't versus shield, it was versus mechanical. That's it. So specifically, technically, something like a probe does count as mechanical, and stalkers as well. Like in StarCraft 2, there's no delineation between mechanical and like robotic, which I think was the case in Brood War. But for now, the Colossus do collapse on the tanks. Not bad. Getting one, getting a second tank as well. I spoke too soon. No, the tanks, they do shut down the Colossus. Ay. The second tank survived that. But that's it. It was specifically mechanical, which affects TvT and TvP. Doesn't affect TvZ. As a heads up. As the army blinks in, a mine shot's going off, and despite getting the tanks, GG gets called as Percival does overwhelm, and Percival, he will take a 2-0 lead in the series. He will claim the series, I should say, 2-0. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Percival. He will claim it. He will advance on into the next round. A shout out to Frustration for competing there, for holding his own. Again, he was able to weather the storm against Percival in game 1 and game 2. Percival still had some big leads and some big advantages, referring to his economy and his map control as well. It was something he was able to gain a little bit more freely in game 1, but able to get there here in game 2 as well. So Percival, I mean, he was coming as a favorite player, but shout out to frustration because he did not look bad at all, especially considering he's been retired for like 4 years. Like, it's been a long time since Frustration has competed in an Open Cup or in any kind of fashion and form, so it's been a very, very long time. Really cool to see him back. GG well played. Whether he's only back for a brief period or maybe signs up for more Open Cups in the future, hard to say. GG well played. Congratulations to Percival, and let's catch up on the bracket itself.